So I was thinking about you last night. I'm at home with my son and we're watching the Atlanta United game, right? And I specifically remembered you saying, first of all, I remember that Mo hasn't got his jersey yet. I thought, I got to put on my to-do list today. We got to get Mo his jersey. But your controversy with your jersey was very, very different, and you have figured it out.
Yeah, so we got to choose these jerseys and put our names and favorite number on them. And I was very conflicted because I was going to put my married last name, but it just doesn't feel like that belongs to me yet, despite being married for 5 years. I think it's also my husband's first, and like our initials are the same. And so just putting like Wood on the back felt like it wasn't me, it was him. But I didn't want to put Young because that felt wrong as well. So I went with Cassie. I'm like, that's my first name. You can't argue about it. And my husband, very cool about it, but I think he joked about it, but I think it really hurt his feelings a little bit, especially because publicly I go by Young. It's in all my social handles, so it feels like a dirty little secret almost, like my married name. So I was explaining this and I had a lot of friends who got it, but there was one P1 named Kia who wrote something, and I would love the guys on the show, your take on this to some of the questions she brought up. So she said, I heard Cassie talking about the last name change issue and how Chad was a little hurt with her decision. The tradition of women taking a man's last name seems a bit outdated, in my opinion. Why is it that, generally speaking, women should be the only ones to lose a part of their identity once married? Why is the default still for a woman's children, in most cases, to receive the father's last name, especially after all the damn labor we did to get the kid here? Sheesh. I've heard of some men in rare cases who have taken their wife's last name, and sometimes women hyphenate, but let's be honest, most of the time, there's a societal expectation for women to adopt a man's last name and for children to take his last name as well. So I'm curious to hear the men's thoughts on how you would feel to lose that part of your identity and for your children not to pass on your last name. I love to confront men on this because it gives them insight into how a woman often feels, especially one as feisty, strong, and independent as Cassie. And I want to know what most men's justification is for maintaining an antiquated tradition when it isn't really necessary because there are birth certificates and now DNA that can easily track genealogy. Is it ego? Is it toxic masculinity? I know religion might be a reason, so I'd like to hear from those who aren't religious. So would couples, especially be men, how about this? Be open to selecting an entirely new family name as a new, more fair tradition? And if not, why?
Go ahead, Mo.
Well, I mean, I've spoken a lot about marriage in the past. So for me, in order to even have an opinion on this, I would have to be open to getting married first. But honestly, if I were to get married, I don't know the true history behind the name thing, other than I've been told when I was younger that it's just a way to keep the lineage open for the male's family. But I never did think about, okay, but what about the woman's family and why is it any different? But if I were to get married, if I was at that point and a woman made me feel that way and she wanted to keep her name, I honestly wouldn't have a problem with it. Would I give up my name? Probably not. We'd have to meet in the middle.
I don't feel so strongly about it that I would say absolutely not, but there is a part of me that feels like there's something romantic or special about us. I don't know. I think I would want a woman to have my last name. It just feels more intimate.
Well, why don't you take her last name?
Because that's stupid. No, I can't answer that.
Well, that's the question.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on it, but I would feel a certain way about that. I would feel emasculated,
and
quite
now
honestly.
You know how there's a lot of women now that feel that way.
Yeah, and that's why, and it's not that I don't love my husband, and it's not that I don't want to share that stuff with him. It's just that's been my identity for so long and who I am. And then to give that up, I'm lucky because I can have my old name as my public sort of work name, but it is very strange and it's very bizarre. So when it comes to putting that name on something that, unlike, I'm involved in the Bert Show and this Atlanta United Community Partnership, and then to put my husband's last name on it, even though it's mine, there's a part of me that's like, but I want me on there because this is me, even though that is. It just takes a while to get used to it if that's something that you weren't really sure that you were going to do when you got married.
Yeah, I don't have a definitive answer. I have to explore it more, but I certainly feel a little traditional in this area here. And I feel like I'm very progressive when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And if she wanted to keep her name, I'm like, no, I'd be all right with it. But there would be a part of me going like, I love this woman so much that I take pride in her. And I want to share that last name with her. But if you're asking me if I'm going to change mine, I'm not that progressive.
Right? It's interesting, right?
Right.
The Bert Show.